Ryan Reynolds has quite the big summer on his hands with the release of Deadpool and Wolverine, but before we get to that main course, we have this starter, which is a family comedy called If. In this film, we follow a young girl named Bee, who's played by Katie Fleming, who some of you might know as Judith from The Walking Dead. She's going through a tough moment in her life as she moves in with her grandmother while she waits on her father to have surgery. And while she's there, she starts unexpectedly seeing imaginary friends, which are better known as Ifs. And while doing so, she also realizes that her neighbor, Cal, who's played by Ryan Reynolds, can also see these imaginary friends. These Ifs have been abandoned by the kids they helped in the past, and so the two of them join together to embark on a journey to help reunite them with their former kids. Films like If are rare these days because usually when you have a family-friendly film, it's either fully animated or it's based on an established IP. Whereas here it's based on an original idea by director John Krasinski, who also writes the film, produces the film, and also stars in the film.
Oh, that's nice. So you want me to star in it, write the theme tune and sing the theme tune?
Now I say it's an original idea, but we have had other films that delve into imaginary friends, and with If, it does have quite a few similarities with a Cartoon Network show called Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Regardless, as this is a film for the whole family, the story is straightforward and the comedy is mostly slapstick and is the sort of thing that kids will have a right giggle at. The film starts in a somber manner, so it does take a bit of time to get to the fun of the film, but for young kids watching this, I think they will enjoy this colourful set of characters that they eventually get introduced to, and they're the sort where during my childhood, I definitely would have collected all the Happy Meal toys. However, a big issue is only a couple of them get enough screen time to make any significant impact. One of the main ones is this big purple character who happens to be named Blue, who's voiced by Steve Carell. His size and abruptness is central to most of what we see from him, and for a film about imaginary friends, he just looks bland. Like, he looks like Grimace, he looks a bit like that dude from the movie Home, and, you know, especially when you look at the other Ifs features here, which are much better and much more inspired, you thought they might have gone for one of those ahead of him as one of the main characters. One of the big selling points for this film for the adults is the voice cast, because we have some big names attached to the film to voice these Ifs, like George Clooney and Matt Damon, for example. But to be honest, I didn't really care for any of that because these characters are like top trumps. They get a brief chance to show their personality, but it's also fleeting as the story divides its time elsewhere.
I will forget each and every one of you almost immediately.
For any film where the lead character is a kid, a lot of responsibility is going to fall upon that child actor. And for Katie Fleming, I don't think she was helped by the dialogue here because a lot of it was matter-of-fact dialogue where she would say something like, "Where are you going?" or "Why is that locked?" It's, you know, not any added words in there to make it a bit more believable as a real-life conversation. So it's quite robotic. Now I don't know if that's because of her performance or whether that's just because of how the script was formed for her to say things in that way, so it's a bit more simple for kids to understand. But it did get a little bit sort of noticeable at times. But I think even though there were bumpy parts in the performance, she still did well to carry this thing across the finish line at the end of the day. And some of her best moments were with her grandmother, who's played by Fiona Shaw. And this grandmother is the most relaxed grandmother I've ever seen, because her 12-year-old granddaughter is gallivanting around the city, and I think she only asks her once, "Where have you been?" Other than that, it's like, oh yeah, she's been out and now she's back, great. If it's not a film that will make you laugh out loud really, because there's not those jokes in there that are targeted towards adults, and it's also one of those where it feels like they had more fun making the film than what we actually got delivered. But what I do respect though is the attempt here to make a film that can resonate with adults when it comes to the message. Like we saw in Inside Out with the dad doing the monkey thing with his daughter, we get a bit of that here with Bee and her father, and it asks that question, when do you stop doing these things? Because there is no set time, and what do you replace them with? Because you get these nice silly interactions, but then they just disappear and you have nothing else which is fun between the two of you, and between a parent and a child. Is everything going to be just so serious from now on? So it does sort of put emphasis on that we should always have that imaginative spark between people. An issue with this film is it does lack urgency, as the stakes aren't really there. It's a very casual moving film because if an If can't find a pairing, they'll just go back to the retirement home, which ain't too bad. It's not like they're going to disappear, there's no real time limit at play, and I feel like for Ryan Reynolds' character Cal, they could have slightly reworked him a bit just to maybe add a bit of that in there, because when compared to other characters he's played, this one is going to sink into the background. I do have to mention the music because Michael Giacchino's score is notable and it accompanies the energetic scenes well, but sometimes it becomes a bit much. And that's because there's many moments in If that are dedicated to trying to rinse emotion out of you like it's a bloody Pixar movie.
Anyways, I'm gonna go cry in the bathroom. Peace out, homies!
So when it comes to If, it's harmless to a sense where if you want a family-friendly movie to watch at the cinema, this will do a job, and it comes out at a time where these sorts of films are rare. Having said that though, considering the premise and the opportunities that were available for a film that deals with imaginary friends, this had potential to be a really strong family film that you want to rewatch time and time again, but instead, it's a movie that just exists. Also, what is going on with Awkwafina? She's like in every single voice cast in Hollywood right now. It's kind of crazy. And every time I see her name now, I just react like this. Anyway, if you've had the chance to see If, what were your thoughts? And also, if you'd like to have me as your new imaginary friend, feel free to subscribe because... Well, hold on, I'm not imaginary.
I'm a real boy!
And if you'd like to watch another review on Screen or a Couple just for you.